airplanes, everything inspected, straight. It's like it seems on way.
My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West show that is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgium royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the number one craftsman on the global earth ever. Together, the name of Wolfers stands as a testimony to the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. To the show. Today with me is my dear friend, leader of the community, and somebody that we rely upon a lot, a council member of West Covina, beautiful city, I call it our city, to talk about the virus, talk about people, talk about government concern, and of course, talking about his re-election campaign. So, welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Good. First, and unfortunately, we have to start by your address to the Wuhan people
Yes.
in China, if not to all over China.
Yes.
Because I feel the kind of love that you have
Yes, I do.
towards China and towards Wuhan. You wanna make your I don't know, kind of like just a short address
Sure.
to our audience how you care about people, how you care about people there over there.
You know, unfortunately, this disease, the coronavirus, is no fault to any of the people in China. It's an unfortunate thing that happened, and my heart goes out for them. I know the heart of the United States goes out for them, and I know the heart of every country in the world that's a civilized country goes out to them, because they're losing their residents day after day after day after day. And yes, there may be a cure in sight down the road somewhere, but you know what? We're not at the top of the hill yet. We still have a ways to go. And as a person that's, I went to China twice in 2017 and in 2019. I was there. You know what? And to me, I always said I had one aspect of China before I went there. But the first time I left there, when I came home, I left my heart in China. The beautiful country and beautiful people. So I just want to let them know that we are thinking of them, our prayers are with them, and that, just keep fighting the fight and keep the faith. Because you don't only have the faith of us, you have the faith of the whole world with you. So I wish them all the best, and our prayers are with them.
All right, very good, very good. And I believe my audience will thank you very much for having this kind of concern and for extending your love to the people back there in China.
Yes, I do very much.
And we appreciate the fact that you went to China for twice.
Yes.
You understand China. If I quote, beautiful country, beautiful people,
Yes,
right? All
very
right.
much.
Yeah, and that just provides us a very good angle to slant into our subject today.
Yes.
So, as a council member representing the word government, right?
Yes.
How much does the word people weigh your heart as a council member, as a part of the government?
Remember, everything I do is for the residents of West Covina. Their priorities are my priorities. If they have a problem, I'm there for them. That's what we were elected for, Jack. We're elected to do the bidding for the residents in the city of West Covina. Every city has their own city government. Ours is ours. And it's part of my job that if any resident has a problem, they can call me or come to me, and I help take care of it. Sometimes the turnout may not be exactly the way they wanted it to be, but at the same time, they know that my heart's with them, that I will do everything in my power to make it work for them. That's what being a good government person is. That's what it is. Not caring about yourself. I mean, There's a lot of things I do, and people tell me that, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure that might be a negative for somebody that might want to run against you or something like that? And I tell them, my job I'm not worried about. If I do the right thing for the residents of West Covina, and for some reason someone wants to use that negative against me, it doesn't bother me, Jack, as long as I know I'm doing the right thing.
All right. Thank you very much for having that kind of a heart, understanding, and your take of being a member of the government. Right. And by the way, that my audience will all recognize his popular heart. And I'd say, of course, even during the State of the Union address, our president gave a big credit to our service people.
Yes, he did.
Right? As to every time, every presidency would do the same thing in each and every of their State of the Union address.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Lloyd Johnson, I don't have to ask how old you are, but you're way, over 60, I believe.
Oh, yeah, quite a few years over 60.
And he gave his golden years to the country, to the service. He went to the war on behalf of this country, and he came home wounded. That's why he gets his Purple Heart. To people that did such a contribution to the country, like we say that nothing is free.
That's
Everything
right.
has a price.
Yes, sir.
So is our freedom, right? I believe he's a member who did his service to the country, who came home with the cost of his service, and then he never stopped serving. So nowadays, when you look back into the years when you were 18, when you joined the Army,
Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
Yes.
Marine Corps.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Okay.
How do you feel about those days?
You know what, Jack? If I had to do it all over again, I'd do exactly the same thing. Exactly.
Say it again, say it
If
again.
I had to do it all over again, I'd do it exactly the same way. You know what? Because
No regret, nothing.
No, because, just like you said a minute ago, freedom isn't free. Our government back there in 1967, during the Vietnam War, were drafting people, and then I volunteered right out of high school. I wasn't drafted. I volunteered. I went into the Marine Corps because it was one of those things. We weren't fighting for our freedom. We were fighting for the freedoms of another country because they didn't want to have communism in South Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So we were helping them. So I felt it was the right thing to do. Even as an 18-year-old kid, I felt it was the right thing to do.
But to me, I want to elevate the understanding of joining the war.
Yeah.
All right. As a soldier, it is not your job to tell what kind of war you're fighting.
That's right.
All right. It is not your freedom to choose what kind of war you are fighting or you're not fighting.
Right.
However, whenever, as a young man, 18 years of age, right?
Yes.
And I call them skiboarders on the street, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They heard the call, they joined the fight for the country. That brave mind, that selflessness is the thing that we're missing.
Yes.
That we're missing. Now especially when you call everything I, iPhone, iPad, right?
Yeah.
Or whatsoever. You have all kinds of I's,
Yes.
right? So how do you want to promote the idea to our young people, and especially at this moment when you are running your re-election now, how do you value that value to our young people to call them to wake up the selflessness?
Always remember, there's no I in team. As the United States, it's a team. If we don't work together, we fall apart. As a Vietnam veteran, those are my morals I learned back then. when I was 18 years old, and I still have them. You know, it's a shame with a lot of our young kids today. They didn't grow up in that era where we didn't have iPhones, we didn't have pagers, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. You know, there's a lot of things that they didn't have. So like you and me, Jack, we grew up, it's completely different. So we learned that. I know, I see a lot of young people nowadays, and a lot of them, you know, they do have a lot of respect for us. But then there's the others that don't, that feel that they're entitled to everything they have. And I wish that they would just understand that nobody's entitled to anything. Nothing's free. You know, somebody has to pay for everything that is done in this world. I don't care the products that we make here, the products that are made in China, the products that are made in something else. Somebody is doing those products.
Somebody has to do the job.
Somebody's doing the job. So we can't assume that we have the right to take this or we have the right to do that. No, I think everything that I buy or things that I purchase here and there, I understand somebody made it. Some labor person had to make this.
Yes,
So,
you're right.
And I look at it that way. So you know, this just didn't appear here. So we have to understand that no matter in politics or whatever we do, is that if we don't work together for the common good of everybody, we fall apart. And that's what we do in West
Very
Covina.
well said. Very well said. My dear friend, talking to my friend Lloyd Johnson, council member of West Covina, is kind of a moment of awakening ourselves of how and what we have done to this country. Right? To this freedom you were either born with or you came for.
Yes.
All right. My dear friend, let's take a moment out. We come back. We'll stretch from that point on. We want to develop into a concept how we, every single one of us, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of anything, ask ourselves, how much have we done for the freedom that you were either born with or came for?
Yes.
All right, so stay with us.
Everything
We have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host this news every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the East West that is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and handforged by 10 generations of the #1 craftsman on the global earth. Together, the name of Wolfer stands as a testimony to the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. I'm very proud to have Wolfers as the exclusive sponsor to this show. And today I'm especially honored by my friend Lloyd Johnson, a council member for West Covina. I started years ago when he was 18. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps as a fighter for the freedom. Came back with a Purple Heart. You all know what Purple Heart means. Means that he or she has contributed with a part or parts of the body to the country. In other words, he did not came back home a whole piece. He lost something.
Yes.
Right? So that's why you earn the Purple Heart. Purple Heart is not just a token. Purple Heart is a insignia that tells you what this person has done to the country. For that, sir, I salute.
Thank you, sir. I
I
appreciate it.
salute. Seriously, I salute.
Thank
Right?
you.
Very good. We were at a point talking about it is not just a piece of history. It is not just a page of yesterday. it is rather important now to our young people,
Yes.
of who we are, where we're from, and what we want to do, right?
Yes.
As a member of the proud nation.
Very true.
Okay, I believe that you, as a council member, in your day-to-day job, you just told me you started your service to the country during your high school days by volunteering,
Yes.
right? And then you started your service to the country at the age of 18, joined the U.S. Marine Corps, right? And now, well, of course, coming back from that, you never stopped service.
Right.
You are still serving,
Yes, I am.
right? I'm not asking how many times of the 18 years altogether that you are now, but you never stopped service.
No, I never did.
How do you feel serving the country? Is the country really deserves your service like that?
You know what, Jack? I love this country. I love the city of West Covina. I love the residents of West Covina. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. You know, you have to have that feeling inside you. It has to come from it to really be a good representative of the residents that you serve. It has to come within here. You can't take it for granted. You can't say that, you know, I'll just go to a meeting twice a month. I'll do whatever's there and then walk away. This basically is a full-time job if you want it to be without getting paid for it, okay? Because
Yeah,
we
of
are
course.
volunteers.
Nobody works for the money.
We are volunteers. But I do love it. There's no regrets. I mean, I know, like we were going to talk about my re-election. I mean, I am running again. It's because I'm not done yet, Jack. You know, you look at our country, we have to separate. You know, the residents, I hope they understand that their lives are touched more by your government here in the like West Covina, you know, your region like that, than any place else. You have your president, your congressmen, your senators, and all of these up here in Washington and Sacramento, wherever you're from. But the residents of West Covina, their lives are touched more by what we do, by the policies as a council that we make, is what touches their lives. And I have to weigh every one of those policies, and I have to say, all my residents of West Covina are going to benefit from these policies. So then I have to say, yes, there might be a few that might not agree with me, but I'm a firm believer that the good of the all is better than the few. You know, we have to look at the overall picture. I have to look at all the residents that I serve, and there may be a few disgruntled residents say, why are you doing this? But in the long run, Jack, if I didn't think it would benefit the majority of the residents and the community at whole, I wouldn't do it.
All right, I really love that statement. You know, my friend, in my position doing this job, I'm never short with slogans. I hear slogans all the time. I hear big talks all the time. Once you sit down, you started by talking with those very grassrooted, bottom line, down to earth expression of our service member to a city, you are touched. Especially when this statement came out of a person who started his service as early as his high school days by volunteering and later joining the Marine Corps of the United States, fought with his own life for the country, and then never taking a stop ever since to serve this country, serve the community till now. You feel that this person is telling the truth.
It comes to my heart.
Am I right?
Oh yeah, it comes
Is
to my heart.
telling the
George.
truth.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not copying anybody else.
No.
Right. You're not repeating all the slogans they do.
No.
You are just tell your heart.
Yeah, that's, if you can't tell it through your heart, you might as well not do it at all.
All right, very good. I know that the word service calls for, number one, the determination to continue serving, right?
Yes.
Number two, a challenge.
Yes, a big challenge.
Number three, sometimes sacrifice,
Yes.
right? With your condition, I know that you have to carry a bottle all the time.
Yes.
because you lost your hearing ability, saliva production ability, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Right? Let us know something about it.
Yeah.
Okay? Let our young people know that our freedom doesn't come free. It never came free because at least this man lost such and such and such in turn, in exchange of it. Let us know something, please.
Like I say,
It's very educational.
for the young folks, when you wake up every day, you have to ask yourself, is my life meaningful? And yes, it is. Don't ever think that everything is for granted, that you are so privileged that everything is handed to you. There's always men and women out there right now, like in Iraq and Afghanistan, that are fighting for the freedoms. They're over there fighting so you don't have to. We don't have to do it here at home. And if I may, I want to throw this little in there while we're talking about this, if I may, Jack. Let's all remember one thing. The greatest heroes this country ever had and ever will have, as far as I'm concerned, are World War II veterans. They fought for this country, Jack. They fought for the freedom that each and every one of us have now. Even my freedoms. They fought for my freedom, they fought for the freedom so I would have the right to go fight for the freedoms of another country. So that's what I'm all about. I'm always saying, you know what? They paid the ultimate price so we can have our freedoms. They are the last ones that paid the ultimate price for every person here in the United States can have the freedoms we have. So all I can say, I would like to say to all the young folks there, anybody else, the greatest gift you can give a veteran, the greatest gift, is to say thank you for your service and welcome home. They want nothing else. They want nothing in return. All they want to do is be appreciated for what they've done for our country. And like I said before, if I could do it again, I would. I love serving. I love serving this country. I love saying, you know what? If I wouldn't have got wounded in Vietnam and they had a medical discharge, I would have stayed in. I wanted to make a career out of it. I love this so much.
If you had died already, you will die twice.
Yeah, that's right. But if you give up your pride and you give up your self-respect, everything else is easy to give up.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
And with my heartfelt statement, I want to say thank you for your service.
No, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
And thank you for your continued service.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
All right, let's take a moment out. We come back. We really want to make it educational, make it a philosophy to interpret our freedom. Stay with us.
Everything expected, straight. It's like it seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English news every morning.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the show. My dear fellow citizens of the United States, have you ever ask yourself who you are, where you're from. Of course, you have a name and you have your parents, that's where you're from. But in a broader sense, though, why you're here, right? Either you were born here, why you have the freedom. I was born with the freedom. Okay, good answer, right? I want to use a quote from this great man, a friend of mine, council member of City of West Covina, that because somebody had paid for my freedom.
Yes.
And that's why I'm paying for theirs.
Yes.
And then that's why I call upon young people to do the same thing, to pay for the kids' freedom in the future.
Yes.
And it goes on and on till posterity, that we're always paying for the freedom for our next generation.
Very true.
That's a good call, sir.
Very true.
That's a heartfelt call.
Yes.
That's a heartfelt call, right? So I want to stretch it to a philosophy that explains our freedom, right? Of course, there's one thing. Oh, yeah. I'll better let you do the job rather than myself, though. Sometimes people have a confusion. Sometimes they confuse with the quality or reputation of the war itself, such as the Korean War, right? Such as Vietnam War,
World War II,
such as the Iraq War, such as Afghanistan War, so on and so forth. With the reputation of the war confused with the part that I joined the war. I fight for the war. As a veteran,
Yes.
went through, right? Came home gloriously. How do you tell the difference, please?
Well, you know what, Jack? You tell the difference by the quality of the person themselves. You know, your veterans, for themselves, they come back and their lives have changed. When you see so much destruction and so many lives torn apart and stuff from war, most of us come back and we realize that, you know what? We want our lives to be better. We want to make a difference. We want to tell the young people, we want to tell everybody else, war is ugly. Nobody ever wins in war. You know, everybody loses. So they have to make their lives the best they can. They have to go out every day and do the best you can. I mean, why go out and assault somebody? Why go out and call somebody a name? Why go out and hurt somebody intentionally? Because that doesn't make you a better person. You can say, I'm a big guy, I can pick on this little guy, oh, I can do that. But that doesn't make you who you are. That makes you something that everybody's gonna look at and say, there's a bully, there's somebody there that picks on somebody else. But if we treat everybody equal, sure, they may not be as smart as you, they may not be as good looking as you are, they may not be anything that you are, but we're all human beings.
Exactly. If I want to spearhead it to the question, though,
Yeah, right.
because now we fought a bad war, for example, Iraq War. We fought a bad war, for example, Vietnam War. And then because of the quality of the war, though, they get looked down upon.
Okay, now I understand what
That makes me cry.
Yeah, I can.
That's the point I want to address.
Okay, let's bring that up. I want to start with the Vietnam War, because this is the most misunderstood and most unpopular war the United States ever had. And as a veteran who came back from Vietnam, I was heartbroken. We fought a war over there. We went over there to fight for a country, and as veterans, we went over there and we fought for each other because our country forgot about us. We was over there. Now, the men and women who went to Vietnam, they went there to do what the country asked them to do. But when we came home, Jack, we were spit upon, we were disgraced, and a lot of veterans to this day haven't forgot that.
All right, that hurts.
That they haven't forgot that. Now,
That hurts.
me, I look at it this way. When I have a person like yourself or someone that comes to me and say, thank you for your service and welcome home, that touches my heart, and that'll touch every veteran's heart. If they mean it.
Exactly.
The government doesn't have to tell me anything, because I don't believe the government. They had their chance when we came home from Vietnam, and they didn't want to do it. So your Vietnam veterans are the one of all the Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, your veterans that go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, and all of these, they're fighting these wars right now, the people haven't forgot about them. But they do respect them, Jack. When you come back and you see somebody, I do it even myself. If I see a young man or woman wearing a uniform, I always thank them for their service and I say, welcome home, you know. But they're not treated the same way as your Vietnam veterans were treated. And that's why most of your Vietnam veterans, they stick to themselves. They don't care what the government says because we don't believe the government. But that doesn't make you who you are. That doesn't make you disgruntled. That makes you had reality slap you in the face, and you find out we fought a battle over in Vietnam, but when we came back home, we had to fight another battle because we didn't have the residents. You know, but nowadays, I do believe, Jack, I really do believe that the people nowadays have more respect for our soldiers from the Iraq, Afghanistan, and Desert Storm. Because
let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We have to do it.
No, they do respect them. I see it all the time. I've never seen a young man or a young woman wearing a uniform nowadays from Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm that's been disrespected.
That reminds me of one thing, one incident, right? About 8-something years ago, the 2004, or 3 or 4, right after the Iraq War broke, right? There was one incident. One soldier refused to go back to his team because he believed the war was not justified, right? And then the controversy was so big. One side says that you have to go back because you're a soldier, you're sworn in, you have to fight for the country, you continue fighting, and it is not your job to tell the quality or the nature of the war. And the other side of the voice saying that no, we want to fight for the war that is justified. How do you tell the difference now? If I'm asking you,
Okay.
Of course I know the answer, but I want to hear the once again from a veteran himself.
First of all, when you raise your hand and said, I will protect this country against all enemies, foreign or domestic, you took an oath. As a soldier, we take orders. If you're in Afghanistan, Desert Storm, whatever it is, you take an order. You're going as whatever, no matter what your rank is, you're always taking an order from somebody else unless you're the 4-star general in charge.
Fight against the enemy, domestic, the foreign.
No matter where you're at, yes. Yeah. So when you have a soldier over there and he's fighting, or he says, I'm not going to fight anymore, but there's a real problem there. I think what they do, first of all, they take him in, they talk to him, they find out why. But you can't walk away from it. You can tell them, I can't do this anymore. Give me another job to do. I can't shoot anybody. Jack, when I went in the service, I went in the service with a person that was a conscientious objector in the Marine Corps. He said, I will not shoot anybody. Will not do it. But he went to boot camp. He joined. All right, or he was drafted, whatever it was. He went to Vietnam. But he worked as an office clerk. He didn't carry a gun. He worked but you know what? He served his country. And I'm a firm believer that if you put on a uniform and you swear to take the allegiance of the United States and you put on a uniform, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you sit in an office. I don't care what you do. You have my respect 100%. But never say, I can't do it, because you had the opportunity. Nowadays, even with Iraq, there's not a draft. Everybody volunteers. So a person that gets over and says, I'm not going to do this anymore, he went against all of his self-interest when he volunteered and said, I will do this. By him turning against, he turned against himself. Not only the country, he turned it against himself. Can the government accept that? No, we can't.
What a good sounding statement. Because I fought, because I sworn in. Right?
Right.
I'm sworn in, I have to fight. Once I put on the uniform, I'm a member
Yes, you are.
of the team, right?
Yes, you
We
are.
got to continue fighting for the freedom of this country,
Yes.
regardless of the cause, regardless of how the war is commented or being criticized.
Yes.
Right. So back to the incident that I use as an example, though, I believed at that time I was very strongly going against the Iraq War. However, I did not support the soldier who refused to go back.
You know, I'm a firm believer, Jack, if I may, you can hate the war, but don't hate the warriors, because they do what they're supposed to do. Well, I think we all were against the Iraq war. I think we're all against the Afghanistan war, you know, because I believe that, but it's another country, you know, if the country believed in us and wanted our help 100%,
That's how you make America strong.
that's how we make America strong.
That's how you make
know,
America strong.
You have to protect those who can't protect themselves.
Very good. All right, my dear friends, today with me is my dear friend who I respect a lot, a Vietnam War veteran who came home wounded with a Purple Heart, but never stopped serving the community till current time. And he is now council member of West Covina, and he is running his re-election, meaning that he will not stop serving the community.
Yes,
right?
that's what it means.
We'll take a break and come back, talk about his campaign. I have no doubt of his re-election. I have no doubt of his being re-elected. I just want to make it a strong point that we need this kind of people.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good. Stay with us.
Everything
We
is
have
expected.
continue to work
It's
on
like
it
it
now.
seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English news every morning.
and the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the East West that is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and handforged by 10 generations of the number one craftsman on the global earth. Together, the name of Wolfers stands as a testimony to the spectacular and a share of the royal glory. Back to the show. Today with me is my dear friend, a person who I respect a lot, council member of West Covina, and who is running for his re-election, which I have no doubt of him being re-elected. What I'm here taking the time to do is that to reiterate a one point that to our service members, we owe them two things. Number one, we want to shake their hands, say, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Number two, we want to tell them that we understand that you did your part for this country.
Yes.
Right, good. Now, especially for people who does not take a break or does not plan to take a break of his service, such as in his case, continue to run for sweet election, though, here's my special salute. All right.
Thank you, sir.
So look at yourself, right? Number one, you did your part to the country. Number two, you're not getting paid.
Very true.
Not does everybody. Okay? Probably you have a per diem.
That's a per diem, but that's not not
gasoline.
much.
That's gasoline.
That's all it is.
Not even covered gasoline.
No,
right?
it's not. That's
Right?
regular
So
gasoline.
all five do this.
Yes.
So number one, number two, we can confirm you're not doing it for the money.
No,
right?
definitely not for the
So
money.
What are you doing it for?
Because I love doing it. I love helping people. I
All
love
right.
serving out my country.
Mm-hmm.
Because I served it when I was in Vietnam, and I still want to serve. There's residents that out there need help, Jack, and they don't know where to get it. So the local government is the only place they can get it because, like I said, like we talked before, the local government is the only one that touches their lives more than any other part of our government system does. And if I have a resident can call on me, say, Councilman Johnson, I need your help. You know what I tell them, Jack? Give me their address, and I'll come over, sit down, have a cup of tea or some water because I don't drink coffee and I don't drink alcohol. I'll sit down and have, tell me your problem. I want to work with you. Now, for like you say, my re-election, what I'm doing, that I'm not done serving yet. If I was, I'd walk away. I felt when I got on the city council in 2013, I said that, just to iterate for the residents how determined I was. In 2013, I lost by 2 votes, the election. And then 2015 is when I was elected. So just to reiterate that, that's how determined I was.
You're here for 2 terms already, right?
No, this is my first term.
Oh, first term.
My first one, like I said, in 2013 when I ran for election, I lost by 2 votes on that one. To your very dear friend that passed away at my expense.
What was the year when you remember at the city hall? I was sitting in front of you. Yeah. You tapped on my shoulder, gave me a business card. Yeah. What was that year? Telling them that you were running.
2013.
13. All right. That was the year that you lost for 2 votes.
That's your vote.
I see.
But you have to be determined. When you have a love for doing something, you have it in your heart that you want to do it. You just don't walk away. That's just.
By looking at your service for the past years, though, I, as somebody with West Covina forever, I know that you have done a great job.
Well, thank you.
You have done a great job. And just now you mentioned that you are running because you are not done yet.
I'm not done yet.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, when I first got elected to the city of West Covina, I looked at the state that the city was in. And it's not really that healthy. Excuse me. And I have always said, when I'm done, I would like for our city to be in a better place than it was when I first got elected. We're not there yet, Jack. We still have a ways to go. I still have a lot of work to do. I still have I want the residents to rely on me. I want them to understand that you have a council members that's in there now that we're in districts. I want them to understand now, especially in District 1, even though I'm a council member for the whole city, for those in District 1, I want them to understand something. They can call me. When I go out and I put out my business card, it has my cell number on it. That's my own personal cell number. It's not the number that the city gives you. The city will give you an iPhone with a different number. This is my phone number. I've had it ever since I've had a cell. All right? I want them to know that I trust them with that number. If I can't trust them, how can I expect them to trust me? So I go to their house. I sit down and I talk to them. I'm not done yet. Maybe I get reelected now in 2020. 2024 rolls around. Maybe I said, I've done a good job. The city's in a better place than what it was. And then maybe I can walk away. I'm not saying I will.
In other words, you have a target in your mind.
Yes.
That as long as you are elected officials, you want to do such and such.
Oh yes, there's a job. There's a job.
Looking at the target, you tell yourself that I'm not done yet.
No.
I have to continue working.
Yes.
Right. So now, what is the target that you set up in your mind?
Well, a target in my mind is that our city, infrastructure, is a lot better. We have more police and fire. We definitely need them. And we're way low on that. So I want the residents to feel safe. If you don't have enough police, our problem is when a resident calls our police, sometimes it takes a long time to get there if it isn't an emergency. If it's just at night that they want them to come out for something that's already happened, they don't get there as fast because we don't have enough police.
Call it a goal.
Yeah,
you have a goal to at least make your police department
of public safety.
On a kind of like a full score.
Yeah.
Now you're quite under. Last time I checked, you have somewhere 90 or what?
Well, no, 90 is what we're allowed to have, what we've budgeted for. We don't have that many yet, Jack. We're still way down. Remember, we only have 7 patrol officers on the street at any one time, unless it's an emergency. And that's to cover a little over 16 square miles. And that's not very much because we don't have the personnel to do it with 24/7. We need more officers on the street. We don't need any more chiefs, like Indians in the upper management. We need more out on the street is what we need. And the only way we can do that.
And a fire.
And
Last
a fire
time, remember
too.
you talk about your fire department?
Yeah, we had 78. We hired. I think they hired 6 more. So we're over 80 now, 80 some. Which they're getting up there. But they're almost where they need to be. But they still have a ways to go. Because the problem with our fire and our police, they have to work so much overtime. And yes, the overtime costs the city a lot more money, but it's also a wear and tear on them and a wear and tear on their families. And that's when accidents happen. When you're spending so many hours out doing your job that you don't have time to relax. Just like when we get away from our job, we kind of get back with our families, we relax, we do other things. They don't have that. So my job as a council member is to try to make sure that they have the personnel they need to do it. So I'm hoping that, if I may, real facts, that this tax deal that's on the budget, that's on the March election, if it passes, the city will be in better shape. If it fails, we're in big trouble, Jack. We are in big trouble. We're going to make some cuts that may go into fire and police because we don't have the money to balance the budget. We just don't have it. So it's my job. I've been out every day. And now, I'm not throwing anybody in the bus because I don't believe in that. But I am the only council member. I want everybody to understand this. I am the only council member that's out there campaigning for this sales tax for the city of West Covina. Because I believe in it. And folks tell me maybe you shouldn't, that should cost you your job as a council member. So be it, Jack. So be it. If I'm fighting for something that I believe is right for the city and the residents don't believe it, then they have the right to vote for somebody else in. But I can walk away knowing in my heart that I did the right job. I feel good about it. One way or the other, I feel good about what I'm doing. That's what a true leader is. A true leader is to stand up and tell everybody, I'm not here for the politics. I'm here to do what's right for our city, and that's what I'm doing.
All right. What a down-to-earth statement. What a clear target or goal, right? That reminds me of one person in China, in one of the small village. There's the village leader, right? And he had a dream. His dream, his whole life was working for one dream, because in front of the village there is a big trench, right? And sometimes there's water, sometimes there's none. However, the big trench. And his dream is to build a little bridge over the trench, so his villagers will never have to go
all the way
around for about 20 li. That's about 10 kilometers to get to the opposite side, right? So the bridge, the word bridge he had been saying for a whole life. It was not until the last day of this person's life did they put together the money to build up the
bridge,
the little bridge, right? So they only did it when he passed away. As a ceremony, they told the old man, say, hey, we built your bridge.
Yeah, your dream. This was
you
your dream.
Kind of sound like my bridge man, saying that I want the Department of Police
Yes.
be full. I want the Department of Fire be full.
Yes.
I want my people be safe.
Yes.
That's the bridge dream.
That's what I want.
That's all you
That's
want.
what I want.
All you want. Down to earth, very down to earth. Well, very down to the point. I never regret I picked you as my vote, and I believe that you deserve it.
Thank
Okay?
you, sir. It's an
All right.
honor.
My dear friend, like I said, I have no doubt about him being re-elected. What I do is just want to make a point. I mean, 2 points. Number one, I want the people realize this person had been serving this country forever.
Yes.
And number two, he wants to continue serving.
Yes.
Right. All right. So that covers the show for today. All right, my dear friends, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. And to you, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jack.